Have you ever felt like your own child has become a stranger? One day, they're loving and open, and the next, they're cold, distant, and hostile for no reason you can understand. If this sounds familiar, you might be dealing with something incredibly painful and confusing: parental alienation. Alienation isn't usually one big dramatic event. It's more like a slow, quiet rewiring of your child's heart and mind. It's a pattern, a vibe, a persistent whisper in their ear that eventually becomes their inner voice. Today, we're going to uncover the subtle signs of alienation, understand what's really happening behind the scenes, and most importantly, talk about what you can do to protect your bond with your child. Let's start with the first and most jarring sign: a sudden, unexplained rejection. A child who used to run to you for hugs now flinches or pulls away. A child who loved sharing their day with you now meets your questions with silence or anger. Children's emotions don't just flip like a switch. This kind of drastic change often means the other parent has been actively planting seeds of fear, twisting reality, or rewriting your shared history. They're being told a story about you, and unfortunately, they're starting to believe it. The second sign to watch for is your child repeating adult phrases, things a kid would never naturally say. Do you hear things like, "You're toxic," or "You were never there for me," or "You're just trying to manipulate me"? This is what's known as borrowed language. These aren't their own thoughts or feelings. They are emotional scripts that have been fed to them, rehearsed, and repeated until they sound like their own. It's a major red flag that someone else's voice is speaking through your child. Next, pay attention to one-sided narratives. Suddenly everything you do is wrong and everything the other parent does is perfect. There's no middle ground, no nuance. You forgot to pack their favorite snack? You're neglectful. The other parent forgot to pick them up from school? They were just busy, and it was an honest mistake. This black and white thinking is a classic symptom of alienation. The child feels pressured to prove their loyalty to the alienating parent, and the easiest way to do that is to paint you as the villain. This leads to the fourth sign: overreacting to minor things. A small disagreement or a simple mistake on your part is blown completely out of proportion. It's no longer just a mistake. It's proof that you're unloving, unsafe, or incompetent. This happens because they are being trained to scan for your faults. Every minor issue becomes another piece of evidence to support the negative narrative they're being taught. Have you noticed your child seems anxious or guilty after spending time with you? This is the fifth sign: a fear of displeasing the alienating parent. When they return home after a visit, they might be met with the silent treatment, guilt trips, or a barrage of questions designed to find fault with your time together. This subtly punishes them for having a positive connection with you, and they learn to associate their love for you with negative consequences. The sixth sign is when your child starts forming opinions that are either too mature or too cruel for their age. They might speak with a sense of moral superiority, judging your choices, your lifestyle, or your character with a harshness that is deeply unsettling. Alienation can create a false sense of empowerment in a child, one that's built on anger and judgment. They feel strong because they pre-aligned with the good day parent against the bad one. Sign number 7 is a heartbreaking one: the loss of physical affection and closeness. The hugs stop. They avoid making eye contact. They seem physically uncomfortable being near you. This is a sign of conditioning. They are being taught directly or indirectly to associate you with feelings of danger, betrayal, or disgust. Their natural impulse to be close to you is being systematically shut down. The 8th sign is their unwavering defense of the alienating parent no matter what. Even when that parent is clearly being unreasonable, breaking promises, or behaving poorly, your child will defend them fiercely. At this stage, the alienating parent has become their primary source of emotional safety, and challenging that parent feels like a threat to their own survival. They've essentially become an emotional hostage. Sign number 9 is the refusal of contact or a strong resistance to visits. You'll hear things like, "I don't want to go," "You can't make me," or "I'm scared of you." While a child might genuinely feel these things, in an alienation context, these phrases are often coached. The goal is to create a record of the child's refusal, which can then be used in court to restrict your access. Finally, the 10th sign is sudden secrecy. Your child stops sharing details about their life, what happened at school, who their friends are, how they're feeling. They know, on some level, that any positive information they share about their time with you could be used against them. They become afraid that any sign of a happy, healthy connection between you two will lead to backlash from the other parent, so they build a wall. Seeing these signs is devastating. So what can you do? How do you respond without making things even worse? First and most importantly, stay stable, calm, and loving. Your consistency is the antidote. Alienation thrives on chaos, drama, and emotional reactivity. It absolutely hates emotional safety. Your unwavering love and stability create a safe harbor that directly contradicts the narrative that you are dangerous or uncaring. Second, never ever counter-manipulate. It is so tempting to call the other parent crazy, a liar, or abusive, but this will almost always backfire. It validates the idea that parents fight and tear each other down, and it makes you look like part of the problem. Don't sink to that level. Your integrity is your greatest asset. Third, document everything. Keep a detailed, factual journal. Note the behavioral shifts, the specific phrases your child uses, the patterns of refusal, the dates and times. Don't add emotional commentary. Just stick to the facts. This documentation can be crucial if you need to seek legal or professional help. Fourth, keep the lines of communication open, but be gentle. Create a space where your child feels safe to talk, without fear of judgment or punishment. Use phrases like, "I always want to hear how you're feeling," "You are always safe with me," and "You never have to worry about getting in trouble for telling me the truth." Show them that your love doesn't come with conditions. Fifth, rebuild trust through experiences, not lectures. Arguing and trying to reason with a manipulated child is like trying to argue with the wind. Instead, focus on creating positive, happy memories. Do fun things together. Be predictable. Be soft. When reality consistently contradicts the lies they've been told, the narrative of the alienator starts to crumble. This brings me to my 6th point. Use questions instead of statements. Instead of declaring, "You're being manipulated," which will only make them defensive, ask gentle, open-ended questions. Try something like, "That's a really strong feeling. What makes you feel that way?" Or, "When did you start thinking about that?" Or, "Does that feel like your own thought or like something someone else told you?" This encourages them to think for themselves without feeling attacked. And finally, get a therapist involved, specifically one who is experienced in parental alienation. Not all therapists understand these complex dynamics. A professional who recognizes the patterns can provide invaluable support and guidance for both you and your child, helping to gently uncover what's really happening. But what if you're watching this and realizing it's already happened? Your child has turned against you and the distance feels immense. This happens to so many loving parents. Alienation is sneaky and powerful. The good news is, it's not always permanent, but you have to be very careful. You absolutely cannot say things like, "You were brainwashed," or "You were used." This will slam the emotional door shut. For a child to admit they were manipulated feels humiliating and disloyal. It forces them to see their other parent as a villain and themselves as a fool, which is too much for them to handle. They will defend the alienator even harder. So what can you do instead? Focus on slow, gentle truths, never accusations. You can say things like, "I know things were really confusing for you back then," or "You were caught in the middle of a lot of adult problems, and that wasn't fair to you. Validate their experience without assigning blame. Phrases like, "You didn't do anything wrong," and "I have always loved you, even when we were apart," can open the door for them to re-evaluate things at their own pace. Your goal is to rebuild the relationship, not win the argument. Healing happens through shared experiences, not explanations. You offer unconditional love, while the alienator offers loyalty based on fear. In the long run, guess which one is more powerful? Over time, as children mature, they often start to see the truth on their own. They compare their experiences with both parents. They recognize manipulative behaviors in their own adult relationships. Sometimes becoming parents themselves is the final piece of the puzzle. It happens more often than you might think. You can help them realize the truth, but you have to do it indirectly. Guide, don't push. Ask those curiosity questions. Model emotional stability. Show consistent, unconditional love. And if they accuse you of something that simply isn't true, you can respond calmly by saying, "I can see why that would have been so upsetting for you. I really want you to know the full story when you're ready to hear it. And I'm here for that conversation whenever you want." This plants a seed of curiosity without forcing a confrontation. I want to leave you with this final truth. Alienation is powerful, but the bond between a child and a genuinely loving parent is stronger. It may bend, it may get buried, and it may go quiet for a long, long time, but it doesn't disappear. Hold on to hope, stay consistent, and lead with love. The truth often finds its way back into the daylight. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful, please consider liking and subscribing for more content on navigating complex family dynamics. You are not alone in this.